Joe, at number 2 here, you have Kaden Salter, and so do I. Colorado has a new quarterback out of Liberty. Shedeur Sanders no longer in Colorado, but both of us believe that Kaden Salter will be one of the top quarterbacks in this league.
This is not a knock on Shedeur Sanders, but I think anyone who watched enough Colorado football and who's been paying attention during this draft cycle knows that this is true, and I say it. Shedeur Sanders is not the level of athlete that Kaden Salter is. Kaden Salter is not the level of passer that Shedeur Sanders is, but I think that as we've brought up concerns for a lack of a run game, for a lack of an ability for their offensive line to effectively protect Shedeur Sanders in some games last year, having someone like Salter, who's super mobile, who has rushed for 1,000 yards before, is going to take this team in a different direction. I don't want to say it's going to take it to a new level because it's so hard to replace the football IQ of Shedeur Sanders, but it's going to take it to a completely different direction that is going to make them even more dangerous. Salter is one of the best dual threat quarterbacks in the country. He has had so many games where he has won games with his legs. This last year was a down year for him, and I don't want to hear anybody use that as a reason why Salter isn't a good player because most of his best players left after that 2023 season.
All of them left.
Yes, the whole damn roster left. Either went to the NFL or they transferred.
Right. I'm glad you brought that up, and I figured you would. You have a situation in 2024, okay, or 2023, excuse me, where the kid went off. And a lot of people, if he would have gone in the portal officially, would have been the number 1 player in the portal. Right? I mean, like, outside of Walter Nolan, a lot of people had Kaden Salter at number 1. The academics, for whatever reason, I think because it's a private school or whatever, he couldn't leave. Graduates, here he is. I feel like I'm going to get the 2023 version of this, Joe, in some form or fashion. I do not believe, humbly, that he can be critiqued at all about what happened last year because, like, they lost to Kennesaw State, and it had nothing to do with him. Nothing.
Yeah.
So they were 3rd in the country in drop passes. Like, I don't know what they were trying to do because they had all of the guys that left, and it's not all on Liberty's fault or Kaden Salter's fault that all of that happened. Here's the thing with me with Salter that I want to get to. I think his upside is extremely massive. I think he could be one of these special quarterbacks, and I mean this because of his running ability and because how he can get out of plays and get out of sacks. I have a massive, massive, massive worry with him, though. It is going to be boom or bust. I am projecting that this is going to be boom and not a bust. It worries the outright shit out of me that he's an only career 60% completion percentage guy. And you're talking about
but it's gonna be so much different in this offense. I understand what you're saying, but it's gonna be so much different with better guys around him.
Joe, he had 2 premier, I'd say Big Ten or SEC number 2 wide receivers, and he still only completed 60% of his passes. 60%. The number 1 guy in Miami right now is from Liberty that he had. The number 1 wide receiver in C.J. Daniels. Joe, I'm sorry. I got to call bullshit because there were a lot of times in the game. I'll give an example. The Oregon game and the bowl game. He's got C.J. Daniels wide open. He doesn't set his feet. He makes a horrible throw. I mean, I don't think he was getting the level of coaching that he will get now. And I think that is a massive thing to bring up here. Joe, I don't know. It worries the shit out of me that he had some premier receivers and couldn't get it done more than he needed to in some situations.
My argument, and it's not a great argument, is that he was a younger quarterback at the time.
Fair.
He was earlier on in his career. He had still played a lot. And I agree that the completion percentage stuff isn't exactly sexy. And guys that have poor completion percentages, it's often sometimes something that's very hard to correct. But I think that this offense, as much as I don't like Shermer, and a lot of it does go to Shedeur Sanders' talent, why they were so consistent with consistent accuracy and consistent completion percentages and finding consistent openings and creating layups with a lot of these passing concepts. I think and I believe that the decision-making is going to be easier for Salter here. And I'm hoping that there's a lot less of a need for him to use his legs as he did at Liberty. He was used as a runner a ton at Liberty.
Here would be the counter to that I would say. We can't really make the argument that he'll have more weapons now when he had weapons, some that went to the NFL and some that's a premier wide receiver at another school, a P4 school at a massive one. Like, I listen, I got to see CJ Daniels up close. I know that his stats won't mention that either. He had 6 touchdowns that got called back, literally 6. Okay? Do not read into that. I watch every single game of LSU. The dude can play. They will have some better receivers than CJ Daniels. Not many, and not by a lot. I mean, dude, he had weapons now. I'm telling you. Okay.
I can't disagree with that. I mean, you're right. It's the challenge of this.
I will say this. I feel like every time that I watch him, I'm watching a quarterback that doesn't want to get right inside the pocket with footwork, because every time, even at Liberty, he gets bailed out with his legs. The last time that I saw this actually happened with Hugh Freeze, but that guy was super athletic. Now, Hugh Freeze was the one that recruited him to Liberty, right? Last time that happened, Auburn, whatever, I see it with Hugh Freeze all the time and the things they did with his quarterbacks, right? Like every time. I literally see it. That's all that we see from Hugh. I think he'll change that, though, and all that point because of having